I think that going on that many dates, it was exhausting, and I'm so excited I never have to do it again, and I never did it again after that marathon because it was so much. I don't recommend it, but um, I do think that there's a lot of things that I learned from it that really actually helped me for my forever dating situation.
Welcome to the Grace for the Growth podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Leo. The goal of this podcast is to encourage you on your own growth journey by empowering you to live your life with authenticity, freedom, and confidence. We will get real and raw as we dive into honest conversations about life, faith, business, relationships, dating, healing, and so much more. My goal is that you would walk away from our time together feeling a little less alone, a little less crazy, and a little more brave to be yourself. I hope you will find yourself more compassionate to past you, challenged as present you, and excited for future you. Embrace the story, welcome the messy of it all, sit in the unknown, and most importantly, live authentically. So pull up a chair in my virtual living room and let's dive into today's conversation.
Hey everybody, welcome to Grace for the Growth and welcome to my virtual living room. I'm so excited you're here. We are diving straight into the content today. I am talking about first dates. We're talking about first dates. I'm giving all of my top tips and tricks. Now, who am I to tell you about first dates? Look, I am by no means a pro. I went like a full 9 years without going on a first date ever. We'll get to that in a little bit. But then one summer, I went on 47 first dates. 47 first dates in one summer. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I learned through that about first dates in general, what I would tell somebody now about first dates. Like if you were coming to me saying, I'm going on a first date, what do I do? What do I need to know? This is what I would tell you. And maybe tell you a story or two. We'll see how I'm feeling. We'll see how I get into it. So, welcome to this episode of Grace for the Growth. I don't know what I'm titling this. Something about what I've learned from 50 first dates. Because I think all in all, it ended up being 50 first dates. Like outside of that summer of 47 first dates, there hasn't really been that many other first dates. I'm trying to think. I think I could literally count them outside of that summer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. 9 dates outside of that one summer in my whole life. I really did not date that much. So let's get into it. Here is what I would say about first dates. First things first, it's just a date. And I know if you have not dated very much, I know that is so scary. But here's what helped me is I needed to go into the date not thinking about it romantically. I was talking with somebody recently and they were talking about how do I switch this conversation from friendly into a romantic connection? And I'm like, well, you're already putting too much pressure on it by calling it a romantic connection. I want to actually get curious on like if I want to actually spend time with this person. Now, if you've been friends with this person for a really long time, you guys have pretty much been friend zoned. There's never been anything more than that. Okay, then yes, maybe it's important to communicate the words romantic connection or dating or like those kind of things because that has not been your history and hopefully you would have built up enough trust by now to know that. But if you're like on a dating app or like a setup or like something like that, my friend, chill out. Like chill out. A first date is just an opportunity to understand, do you guys vibe? Do you like being in the same room? Do you like can you keep up conversation together? Are you interested? Like is he an interesting person to you? Like you don't need to like have this like um big massive like understanding romantically of where this is going to be. And let me give you some context of where I'm coming from, because I need you to know a little bit of backstory. A little bit of backstory about me. So I hardly ever dated. I dated one guy in high school, one guy in college, and then was single for 9 years. Single for 9 years. Didn't go on any dates. Found myself in a relationship, my first adult relationship in my late 20s, and it was very short-lived and it was extremely painful, and I learned so much from it, but it was a very, very, very difficult relationship and a rude awakening that I had no idea what I was doing, that I needed some like major healing in my own life. And so anyways, that brought up a whole lot of things, and that's what we're talking about today. But what I will say is that that was like the extent of my dating life into my 30s. So, like, had not dated at all. Like, I was the girl who was like, when people would be at church and would be like, "Oh, Courtney, like, have you thought about so and so?" Or like, "What do you think about him? What do you think?" I'd be like, "No, absolutely not. I don't know anything about him." I literally remember telling someone, I worked at a church, and one of my coworkers, he's like a big brother to me, and I remember him asking me specifically about somebody that had just like joined the church, and like I remember him asking me like what I thought about this guy and all of stuff, and I remember literally telling him I would never go on a date with him. I don't know him. Which like is literally the point of dating. And so like that was the girl that I was all through my 20s. Like, and there was just a lot of unhealthy Courtney happening in my 20s. If you did for any reason want to or try to date me in your 20s and you're randomly listening to this, I apologize. I was not well. So anyways, so then I get through that breakup in my, adult late 20s, and I'm kind of working healing from that, and I start doing like, it was like later, like in still in pandemic times, but like later in it, like 2021, 22ish. And I remember like I was doing a lot of like Zoom dating. Like I was doing a lot of like virtual speed dating, because like online, we were still doing so much online stuff at that time. I was doing like virtual speed datings, and I was like going on dates on Zoom and all this kind of stuff. And I remember clear as day, I had just gotten off a Zoom date. And again, like this wasn't, I guess I don't count virtual speed dating as dates. So when I'm talking about my numbers, that's not in there. I'm talking about like actually like going on a first date with somebody. And I had just gotten done with like my first Zoom dates of my whole life. And I remember clear as day, the Lord, like I shut my laptop. I had just like kind of ended. I went on like 2 or 3 virtual dates with this guy, and I had kind of shut it down. And I remember closing my laptop, and I remember clear as day the Lord saying, "You are afraid of dating. You're afraid of dating in person, and I need you to get over that." Excuse me. I'm the biggest extrovert ever. I can talk to a wall and have a conversation. What do you mean I'm afraid of dating? And it set me on this discovery to realize that in fact, of course, the Lord was correct, and I was very afraid and very nervous of in-person dating. And I thought of every excuse in the book. I thought of, how could I go on a date with strangers? Like, is that unsafe? And then I thought about every solo date that I've ever been on and all of the times that I've been solo in my city. And I'm like, I know my city really well. Like, I trust myself to walk around Target by myself. I trust myself even to like go downtown to the places that I know by myself. Why would I not trust myself to go on a date to a place that I know? Like, I don't want to go to like a stranger's house or like a strange place I've never been to. Like, if I can go on a date somewhere I know in this city that I know very well, if I can do that activities, why could I not just go on a date to these places? And so, okay, got rid of that excuse. I don't know where to find people. Well, it was still 2022. Dating apps were still like popping off, and like still had a little bit of hope there. So I was like, okay, great. And then I had to get over like some mindset stuff about how I like felt or how I thought about online dating apps. And like really just need to get through it. And the Lord was just like, I just need you to get over this fear. Like, we just need to walk through this fear of first dates. And I'm like, okay. Coming from the girl who's never been on a first date, who's always been like, I don't want to do like the dating just to date thing. And we went on this adventure. Me and the Lord went on this adventure, and that started a crazy wild summer. Guys, literally, when I tell you, there was one week I went on 8 dates in 7 days. There was one day particularly I went on 3 dates in one day. Like, horrible, horrible. When I tell my husband stuff like this now, he's like, "You're crazy." Like, you're he's like, "Oh, like, are you scandalous?" And I'm like, "No. No, like, let me give you the breakdown of what these dates were like." Um, I would match with somebody and would, like, find out enough about them to feel like they, weren't annoying, totally annoying or scary. Like, I'd get good vibes from them. I would then have conversations that would be very like, I didn't like create pen pals. Like, I was very quick to be like, hey, so I really would, love to meet in person, those kind of things. Also, kind of towards the end of that like dating sprint, that dating marathon, which I guess sprint and marathon are different, my bad. But kind of towards the end of that, like I quit going on dates with people before having a phone call with them because I could just learn so much about people's energy on a phone call, to know whether or not like we would vibe really well. It's also like less nerve wracking. So like if he was really nervous, the phone call was like a lot easier. Um, because here's what I learned. In going on those first dates, when I would get to the first dates, it was really hard for me to like find out like, is this a life partner? Is this somebody that I'm going to like do life with and have a family with? Like, it was hard for me to get to those questions because this is a total stranger that I literally don't know. I had a very short app conversation with him, and so what I learned is that actually none of those questions about life partnership matter if I don't want to engage with him and be in his presence longer, or this conversation is dull, or I feel like I'm leading this whole conversation. Like, I know who I am, and I know when I'm sitting across from somebody and that person either doesn't want to be there with me, isn't interested in me, wishes they were somebody else, or has other reasons other than getting to know me. Like, I've just lived on this planet long enough to know when you're not here with me, you know? And so I could find that out on the first date. And so what went from being so scared of like, how do I go on dates with people that I don't know if they're aligned or not? I was able to just like ease into it and just say, oh, I'm actually just going to meet somebody one on one. And if I enjoy their company and if I enjoy their presence, or I'm curious about them, then maybe I'll go on a second date with them if they want to. And if not, if it's like, well, that was it. And I'd be like, it was a good moment. We could part ways after that. Then okay. Like, okay, great. So I just did that and I just put it into practice, and I just got over my fear of it. Here are a couple other like practical things that I did. One, I had 3 outfits that I like, those are my first date outfits, and I only wore those first date outfits. Like, I mean, again, on the crazy week, I had to get some variety in there, but there was so much. There's like, when you're first started to date, like, there's just a lot of like nerves and anxiety and like, what am I going to wear and how am I going to do my hair, and is this look good enough, is this too fancy, is this not too fancy? And I just eliminated all that anxiety by being like, I'm going to put on my first day outfit, one of my first day outfits, and I, a little bit of variety so that like I could, adapt to wherever we are going. And it was great. Like, I never had to worry about what I was wearing. I never had to worry about like, was it too fancy, was it too casual? Like, I had figured out like, these are 3 outfits that I feel comfortable in, I feel good in. I feel like they're versatile, and I feel like they're not like super super fancy or super super casual. They're just kind of mid, and it was great. It was great. So that took out some anxiety. Second thing is, I didn't go to anywhere I had never been before. So, and any of my first dates, like whether it was a restaurant or an activity or like something like that, there were all places that I had been before. And that was just really good for my um sanity. It was good for my nervous system. Like, I knew where to park, I knew how the walk was going to be, like I knew how long it was going to take me to get there. Like, I had been in the environment. I didn't have to Google it and hope that the Google pictures look like that, right? So I never went anywhere that I hadn't been before, and that was really, really helpful for me. So those are just like some practical things there. And then the other thing I would do kind of practically is the morning of, well, it depends. It was a variety, but the morning of, I made sure that like I had some connection with him. Um I had some connection with him just to like confirm we were still on for the date. So whether it was kind of towards the end of the dating marathon, like I realized I wanted to be asked that. So whenever we had set up the date, I was like, "Hey, and if you don't mind, if you could message me the morning of just to confirm that we're still on, that would make me feel really, like, really great." And he was like, "Yeah, awesome." So, or he didn't, you know, and then we didn't go on the date. But at the beginning, like, I would confirm it too, because I had just been stood up too many times, because life happens and scheduling schedule, and I was just stood up a lot at the beginning, um, and then when I started having these conversations about like, "Hey, can you touch base with me?" Um, I quit getting stood up. So that was great. And I don't take those standing ups personally. Like, I do wish that they had the decency enough to like tell me or like remember the date or like not double book or like whatever. I just assume most of the time that like people forgot. And while that does suck, it just is like, okay, like, I mean, it sucks that you forgot, but that doesn't mean that you hate me. And that doesn't mean that you like don't want to date me. It just means like your brain wasn't here, and like that's fine. Like, we'll move on. It wasn't necessarily that I would be like, giving people the second chance every single time, but um I people like standing me up like has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. And um I learned that very quickly. So there's just like all these things. So you hear all these different things of like things you're like anxious about or things you're nervous about that just like go away. Like they just leave um as you get practice. And so um the reason the reason why, well, I'm not going to get into that. So those are just some practical things that were really helpful. Now, when you're actually on the date, um a couple questions I ask myself. Would I want to be friends with this person? Period. Do I want to be friends with this person? If you don't want to be friends with them, you probably shouldn't date them. Like, if you're not like when you meet somebody, you're like at church or like you're at work or something like that, and you like it doesn't even have to be like a dating situation. You're like, this new girl comes to church and she's great, she looks cool, and you're like, "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime." And then you go to coffee with her, and then you're like sitting there at coffee, and you're like, "Wow, we just like really hit it off. I'd really love to be friends with her. I know it's going to take some time, but I'd really love to be friends with her." That's the same energy we need to bring to first dates. Um, I really, it'd be great. I would really love to be friends with him. Like, I think we would really get along. I'm really curious about getting to know him more. Um, that that's the energy. That's the energy. And if you don't want to be friends with him, or you're like, "This is boring," or you're like, "I'm actually cringing a lot," or "I don't actually feel regulated in this conversation," or "I don't feel like I can be myself," or "I'm performing," then that's something to look at. That's something to like be aware of. And something to just get curious. Like, is that me? Like, am I really freaking out here? Or like if I just don't really feel good here, right? Here's the other thing. A lot of times, like when I work with single women, particularly, when someone goes on a first date, it's really easy to ask, "Well, did you like him? Like, what was he like? Tell me all about it." And one thing that I found in my personal dating journey and has been helpful with the dozens and dozens of single women that I've coached is sorry, my pets are uh playing. So if you hear noises and footprints, it's them running around, and hopefully they won't start wrestling each other. That's the life of a dog and cat mom. But anyways, so one thing I started asking rather than what did you think about him? Did you like him? Was like, how did you feel while you were with him? Did you feel safe? Did you feel that you needed to be on guard? Did you feel like you were laughing? Did you feel like there he's barking? Did you feel like you were um like really excited? Do you want to do it again? Did you feel like you were having a fun time? Gosh, let me just pause this for a second. Hang on. Um I don't know if I could pause this actually. Okay. Well, anyways, let me just mute this for 2 seconds and then yell at my dog. Okay, he's back. Sorry. My life. My life. Okay. So yeah, how did you feel with him? Like, did you feel safe in your body? Did you feel you were waiting for this to end? Did you feel excited? Did you feel good? And the way that you learn about how you feel safe and good in your body is like to learn just generally in life how like what makes you feel safe? Like how do you feel safe so that when you show up on the first date you can be like, "Oh yeah, I did feel safe there." And I don't just mean safe in your surroundings, I mean safe like in your emotions, like that you were seen and all of that. And so I think that's super important. The reason why I say all this stuff is I think sometimes as girls, like girls especially, we have such incredibly high standards of it needs to look like the movies. And while I'm not saying it doesn't have to be that way, I mean, like it couldn't be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And it doesn't have to be like you got a dozen roses on your first date. Honestly, if I got a dozen roses on my first date, I'd be like, whoa, that's a lot. Like, you're coming on too strong, unless I had been friends with him for a really long time, right? And so, it never happened, and I'm never going on a first date again. So I was just saying theoretically, but I would just say like there is there's like so much peace that came when I just chilled out, chilled out. And honestly, I think that going on that many dates, it was exhausting. And so excited I never have to do it again. And I never did it again after that marathon because it was so much. I don't recommend it. That's a question I get a lot. Like, oh, should I do that? Like, no, like, I don't recommend it. It was a lot of work. It was exhausting. I was going. Like, it was just so much, like, so many communications, like, on apps, and then so many dates, and then, like, failing and, like, learning so much, and it was just a lot. So, I don't recommend it, but, um, I do think that there's a lot of things that I learned from it that, completely transformed how I viewed dating and relationships that really actually helped me for my forever dating relationship. Um, because when I got on my first date with my now husband, I knew what I was wearing. I knew where I was going. I didn't think twice about like, is this gonna be okay? Like, we went there and we just had conversation like friends, and it was so much fun. Like, I had a blast. Looking back on it, he was actually, like, kinda sick at the time too, which is really funny, but, like, we just had, like, so much fun. I left that day being like, I would wanna be friends with him. Like, that sounds like so much fun, and I think that's the thing. You've heard me say it if you've been listening, like, that's one of the things that has just, um I didn't expect it to be such a big part of marriage was, like, how much our friendship plays into this, and it makes me realize, how many marriages and relationships struggle when friendship has either never been a part of it or is no longer a part of it when you just become partners versus friends. When you lose the friendship piece or when you stop being friends or stop liking each other in that way, like, it makes it really, really difficult. And so love is a choice. Love is something that you choose. Love is something that you um like I choose my husband every single day. Um and I choose him for so many reasons. And one of the reasons is because we are just really good friends. Really, really, really good friends. And that started date 1. Um and I think that's really important. So, even if you're not going on a million first dates, if you want to get better at dating, try getting better at becoming friends with people. Find different circumstances and situations where you can meet new people and make new friends. Right before this whole dating marathon, I had, the world had just started like reopening up, and I had joined a couple different like social organizations, and I had done some more networking. Like I just started meeting new people. And I think that really helped me kind of work that muscle a little bit so that I was more comfortable in meeting new people via dating. And so like learn how to meet new people and work that muscle. Keep pushing yourself to meet new people. Other thing is find out how to be a really really good friend. I would look around your circle and see what kind of good friends that you have, and what good friends have you made recently? Because that's the thing, especially when we get into our 30s, a lot of us have like old friends, but do we have new friends? And what has that process looked like? And if it's not great, maybe that's something that we can work on. So there are things there that we can work on that are then going to impact your dating life. And then when you actually get into dating, no matter if it's through online or through church or through a mutual setup like my story or anything like that, once you actually get into dating, when you actually get onto the first date, then you will know how to meet new people. You'll know how to make new friends. You'll understand what it's like to be yourself and be able to ask, do I feel like I can fully be myself around this person? And that might not be a question that you can answer on the first date. That may be a question that needs to come through time, but that's a really, really important question, especially as you're starting to get serious. I know, like with my ex, I never felt like I could be myself. I always felt like I was performing or adapting or like squeezing myself into a box that he expected of me. And I just never got to be me. And it was evident as our relationship progressed that the real true Courtney was kind of wilting and dying a little bit in that relationship. Maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot of it actually. And so when you're with healthy people, when you're with the right person, you just get to be fully you. You don't have to perform, you don't have to put on a face, you don't have to put on a facade. And so it's really, really, really important to be there. And the last thing I would say is, um, and I've talked about it before, is I've mentioned uh learning what makes you feel safe, learning how to be safe, learning who you are. All of these things, they show up in dating because, like, for me, it who you are and like how you feel loved and how you feel seen and how you show up in the world and what makes you excited and how your body feels safe and how you regulate and how, like, when I say can you show up truly as yourself, do you even know what it is like to truly show up as yourself? All of that stuff can be learned through singleness. All of that stuff can be learned as you are growing and healing and navigating this life. Like that's not something that has to start through dating. Like if you don't know who you are, it's going to be really hard to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I can definitely be myself in this relationship." Right? If you don't know what makes you feel seen and cared for, it's going to be really hard to identify if you feel seen and cared for in this relationship. Uh, if you don't know if your body feels good and safe, and you don't know what makes and what environments make your body feel good and safe, it's going to be really hard to be able to identify if your body feels good and safe in this on this date, in this dating relationship. And so all of these things, like it's one of the reasons why I really really love working with single women specifically around these areas, because yes, you can go and you can buy courses and coaching on how to date better and how to nail your first date and, success, go for it, like, all the different things. And if you want dating 101, I mean, I can tell you what I've learned, but I hot take think that dating looks different for everybody. So, but I know some incredible, incredible people who are really skilled in helping people date their way, not just date a way. So if you're interested, let me know. Um, but for me, I I don't want to just focus on the dating process, because here's the thing. Yes, dating is a way to get to marriage, but I see so many people focusing so much on their dating life that they're actually forgetting about the goal of where they want to get to. If you want to get to a godly kingdom marriage, yes, dating is a pathway to there, but don't focus so much on dating that you actually like forego everything about kingdom marriage. Don't focus so much on getting like really really great at dating that you forego actually who are you becoming that is prepping you for kingdom marriage. And that's probably one of the big regrets that I have about that summer of the dating marathon, is that I got really 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 good at dating, which is fine. And it's a skill set that I have, and obviously things I can talk about, and it's not wasted. And God told me to get over my fear of dating, and I did feel like God was there with me and equipped me, and we were doing it together, right? But getting good at dating like is not a skill set that you need for a kingdom marriage. Like it is like being really good at first dates. Like I'll never have a first date again. Like I went on my first date with my husband, boom, and it's done. And then I'm done with first dates. Like so if you just get really 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 good at dating, my question is, what is really good at dating? What is that helping me in other areas? How is this helping me get towards a kingdom marriage? What do I need to learn about myself that is going to then continue to play out in kingdom marriage and beyond that, right? And then all of these other things that I mentioned about who are you when you're true to yourself and true to you, and who are you, how does your body feel safe, and how do you feel loved and cared for, and all of these different things, that stuff, that is going to impact your dating life and your kingdom marriage. That is going to help you be able to make decisions and be indicators in your dating life, and also be incredible resources in your kingdom relationship, your kingdom marriage. And so when I sit down with women and they're like, "Hey, I'm single, I don't want to be single anymore." I'm like, "Okay, great, awesome." A lot of these women, they have come from "this is how you date," and they're like, I actually have so much head knowledge about actually how to date, but like I'm getting in my way. And so what we actually do is we actually break it down and we start working on this stuff. What are the limiting beliefs that you have? What is the vision that you have for your future relationship, not just dating? What are you believing for? What are you hoping for? What are you imagining? But then also, like, let's look at who you are today. Like, what do you like? How do you show love and care to yourself? How do you receive love and care yourself? How do you feel like good and safe in relationships? How do you communicate? How do you connect? Like all of these different things that really just amplify you as a person and are incredible skill sets that will not just end when you're on your last first date. So, those are just some thoughts there from me about first dates. I hope this was helpful. I hope there was some nuggets in there, some tips in there. I really do love helping people walk through this dating process that is not just like how to date, but actually what's going on beneath the surface, what may be blocking me from um, you know, from like getting stuck in this dating process or holding me up in this dating process. What mindsets do I need to overcome? Honestly, it's some of my favorite coaching I've ever done in my life. And I'm so passionate about it because I know the impact that working on this in your life has. I know the impact that it has on your marriage, not just in my marriage, but also in several of my clients who have gotten married or engaged or are engaged. I see the difference and I see the transformation in them. And so um the cool thing is that the work that we do is not just uh an ROI in marriage, but also there are career shifts that are happening. There are businesses that are being built. There are books that are being written. Like there's so many things that are coming out of understanding who you are, understanding the environments that really allow you to thrive, understanding to communicate your boundaries well. It's skill sets that are impacting relationships, but also so many other areas of these women's lives. So it's a really fun time. We're having a good time. If for any reason you are interested in what coaching could look like for you, I want to encourage you to go to courtneyleo.com/apply and just fill out that form. Once you fill out that form, I'll send you some information and we can chat about whether or not coaching is right for you based on your goals and what you're looking for. and we can go ahead and make that happen. I offer like packages of coaching sessions, but also one-off sessions. So if you're just like, I don't really know if I want to sign on to this long term, but I would love to sit with you for an hour, we offer that as well. Not we, it's just me. We offer that as well, and would be happy to sit with you if you've got any deeper questions about today, or anything came up, or you want some questions answered about practical application, or you're just like, hey, I heard your episode and some stuff is coming up for me. I just want to process it. I got you. So anyways, thanks so much for listening to Grace for the Growth. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. You are absolutely wonderful. If you're watching on YouTube, I really encourage you, please, please, please subscribe and even comment on this video. It really helps us connect with other people, new people. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, if you could like, rate, and review that. That also helps our algorithm so much. I'm so very grateful. So thank you so much for listening, all about some first dates, tips, and tricks. What I learned from a summer marathon of dating nearly 50 first dates. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time on Grace for the Growth. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Grace for the Growth podcast with Courtney Leo. I hope that this conversation encouraged you and inspired you on your own growth journey, and as you pursue a life full of authenticity and freedom. I want to encourage you to interact with us on social media at Grace for the Growth and at Courtney Y. Leo. Also, if you've got any ideas, way that these episodes have impacted you or encouraged you, I want to invite you to either DM us or email us at hello@graceforthegrowth.com. Until next time, I challenge you to embrace your story, welcome the messy, sit in the unknown, and live authentically. Bye-bye now.